Welcome to Amy Toft Yoga, Vinyasa. Let's just come into mountain pose. Our toes could be touching. We're lifting up through the arches of our feet, and that engages our calves. We can feel our kneecaps lift, our thighs. We can feel our core engage. We've got a foot to core connection. And let's lift up our shoulders. Let them drift down our back. And just close our eyes and take a breath together. If you feel more comfortable, your hands can be at your heart. We're going to begin our Ujjayi pranayama, or ocean breath. So if you've never done that before, or if you have, we'll breathe in through our nose and then out through our mouth. When we breathe out through our mouth, we'll make a ha sound. Let's do it again. In through the nose, through the mouth. And one more time. Now we're going to close the mouth, but we're going to keep that same feeling. In through the nose, out through the nose. We can feel a little quietness in our throat, a little constriction. And so we can hear our breath, just like we can hear the ocean. And now let's notice our body again. We're still pulling up through the arches. Our legs still engaged. Standing tall. Mountain pose is a lot of work. Tadasana. Ta-da! While we're breathing our Ujjayi breaths, I'd like to tell you the theme I have for today, and then there'll be some time you can set your own intention. This is a quote from Booker T. Washington, a famous activist and former slave who started the Tuskegee Institute. Yeah, institute, not university. He was amazing. And there were a couple of versions of this, but this is the one I like the best. I hope it's the one he actually said. I will permit no man to narrow and degrade my soul by making me hate him. Or if we were speaking in more less gender specific times, of course, I know that man means people, but to me it means man. So we would say, I will permit no one to narrow and degrade my soul by making me hate them. And I love the narrow and degrade my soul, because hate is a choice. And if we choose not to be narrow and degraded, no more hate. Awesome. Keep breathing. Take a little time for yourself. Set your intention for this practice, and maybe for the rest of your day. And if nothing came to mind, all good. You still had that moment of breathing and connecting with yourself. So today I'd like to start with something new I learned. You know, I'm always excited about learning new things. This is from Johnny Gillespie, the Balanced Athlete, and it's just a great thing to do anytime you've had to not move for a while. So if you've been had to sit, if you've had some Zoom meetings, if you're back at work, if you have a stressful job, like you're a teacher, this is just a really great way to awaken the body, kind of become more upright and let gravity do its job, and we're going to work with gravity to keep us grounded. So we'll start in with our feet in mountain pose, and we're going to lift our toes. But when I lift my toes, my big toes come up higher, but I'm going to think about lifting my little toes as high as the big. Helps me to do it with my hands. But not roll onto the sides of the feet. all four corners of the feet are still touching down. And then, this is the tricky part for me. Oh, our feet can be hip width apart for this. We're gonna roll forward onto our toes. And maybe your heels are just barely off the ground like mine. We're strengthening our arches here. And then we'll let our heels come back down, toes up, especially those pinkies. Roll forward. Just do this on your own. You don't have to match me. Heels down, toes up. Do it again. You could do this anywhere. People probably wouldn't even notice. So waking up our feet, really grounding ourselves. This helps us be aligned with gravity and also reduces the compression that we have from sitting, gravity working. Okay, so next, this is called downhill skier. I'm gonna go sideways just so you can see me. And basically, it's all about the hip hinge. So like the whole top of my body is all glued together like it's one muscle. And I'm just gonna come on down, put my hands on my knees. So, like I'm a racer, but my hands are here. Gazing forward a little bit, but I'm not cranking my neck. My weight's in the balls of my feet. And then again, all one muscle, stand back up. So simple, right? A little hip hinge. But when you're thinking about all your muscles working together, engaging the core, not sticking your bum out far, but pressing your shoulders forward, keeping your bum in line, letting the weight go into the balls of the feet. There's a ton to think about. So just do a couple more on your own. Keeping that Ujjayi pranayama going. And the next time you hinge forward, let's bend the knees. Let our elbows come on down and have a little rest here. So now we're bending a little more. Let's look at our toes. They're still working. They're still spreading. Our knees are bent. We're not resting a huge amount of weight on our thighs. Then we're just gonna straighten our knees, look down, look between our legs, and bend. Look forward, straighten, look forward, straighten, weight in the balls of the feet, look forward. And then we'll just press up with our feet, come on up. And this is really great, especially every time you stand up, we should just do this. We'll just swing our hips from side to side, feeling the ground kind of roll beneath our feet as we do that. Swing, swing. Then maybe we can go in some circles with our hips. Way. Getting our hips ready for whatever is going to happen to them today. And then if we're even on both sides, we'll just stop. Keeping our feet about hip width apart. We'll lift our arms straight up. Make sure our shoulders are plugged down into themselves. And then we're going to spread our fingers really wide. That activates the arches of our hands. So stretching, 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 gazing forward, activating the arches, fingers so wide. I didn't really know about arches of the hands, but I can feel them pop in. And then we'll bring our arms out to a T, palms down. We're just gonna flip our palms up. When we do that, our biceps come up too. Shoulders are relaxed. Palms down, biceps up, palms down, biceps up. A few more on your own. just bring our hands down, come back to mountain, take a breath. So those things, so great, right? Just a little movement. So whenever you feel like, oh, I've been sitting too long, you can just pop through those really, really quickly, or even just do one or two of them. So now, I've actually made a playlist. I don't know if this will work. It's on Spotify under Amy Toft. And there should, if you're watching this on YouTube, there will be a link. So you can just click on the Spotify, how? I don't know. On your phone while you're watching on something else. I don't know how this is gonna work. But I did make a playlist for today, and it's called Rise Up. Because sometimes it's so fun in your house or wherever to just put on some music, flow through some stuff. So we're gonna start, you don't have to start the playlist yet. We're gonna start with a really slow sun salutation A, and then you're gonna do 4 more, just however fast you want to, moving to the music like a dance, or not, doing it without music like me because I can't figure out how to listen to music and record at the same time. So, coming to the top of the mat, standing in a beautiful, tall, proud Tadasana mountain pose. Inhale, our arms will come up. Exhale, hinging at the hips like we just did. Forward fold on down. Inhale, half lift. You can press through your shins or on the ground. Exhale, let the head hang. Hands go down. Step back to plank. Taking your time, you can always do plank on your knees for the first time, or staying up on your toes, shifting forward, elbows close to the sides. Lower all the way down, tops of the feet touch. Gazing forward, just a little tiny baby cobra. Later we'll probably push on up into up dog. Toes tuck, like all one muscle. We're gonna lift up, coming into down dog. And when you're doing this on your own, we'll always take 5 breaths in down dog. So just taking your time breathing here, spreading the fingers wide. You can move the dog the first time or any time. Letting the shoulders come away from the ears. Looking between the thumbs, you can walk your feet forward. You can step 1 foot at a time. Even hop if you're a hopper. Let your head hang down, half lift, forward fold, and all the way up. Coming back to mountain. So that's just the basic sun salutation, and we're just gonna do 4 more. So if you've got the Spotify playlist and you want to, you could start that now, or you could just put on any good music that you like. We'll just do 4 sun A's. If you don't know what they are, you can follow me, but you can always do them faster or slower than I do. If you've got the music on, I hope you've got it loud. moving about the same pace as me, we'll just do one more. Maybe you can get a couple more in. Or maybe you've had enough and you can just breathe in mountain until we all catch up. So sometimes it's fun to just flow, 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 and we're going to keep going. We're going to do a sun salutation B. So with a little variation, and then we'll do it again with some add-ons. So standing in mountain, we can even bring our heels a little closer together, and we can sink down into chair pose. So lately I've been enjoying chair, like not super deep, a little taller with my back straighter, chest lifted, thighs really pressing together, arms up. But find your chair, whatever you like. Then as we straighten the legs, we'll bring the hands down, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana, hands down, forward fold, Uttanasana. Stepping or now hopping back if you're a hopper, Chaturanga on down. Up dog, my version, or up high on the tops of the feet, and then down dog. We'll lift the right leg high, step it forward, back foot pivots, rise up, warrior one, hips facing forward, shoulders relaxed. Open up, warrior two to the side, shoulders over the hips. Take a breath. Right arm comes down to the right thigh, and we're just going to come into side angle here. So lifting the arm up, gazing under, take a breath. Back to warrior two, and then a reverse warrior or peaceful warrior. One breath, hands down to the mat. Step the right foot back, Chaturanga if you want to, skip it if you want to, down dog, left leg high, step it forward, back foot pivots, rise up, warrior one on this side. Open up, warrior two, and side angle. So my elbow kind of resting on my thigh, but barely, not a lot of weight there. Gazing under my arm, trying to open up. Pressing into all the corners of my feet. Back to warrior two, and a reverse or peaceful warrior. Windmill, the hands on down. Step the left foot back, Chaturanga or skip. Up dog, down dog, 5 breaths. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Just feeling how good this down dog feels now, after we've moved a little. Gazing forward, you can hop or step like I do, your feet through. Forward fold, half lift, bend the knees, back into chair. Take a breath, rise up. Let's take a little breath here. I will permit no one to narrow and degrade my soul by making me hate them. Just love that. I can't hear it enough. Back into chair, adding on a little bit this time. When you're ready, fold on down, half lift, forward fold, on back to plank. Take it through this vinyasa, or don't. We'll meet in down dog. Let's not lift the leg this time unless you really want to. Step the right foot forward, rise up, warrior one, warrior two, side angle, back to warrior two, straighten the front leg, stretch down, stretch forward and then down, triangle. Look at your front toes. Bring the left hand down. Revolved triangle. Right arm comes up. And then we'll bring both hands down on the inside of our feet, of our foot. And then our back foot, toe points forward, will sink on down into lizard, which could be here, could be with your knee down on the ground, could be with your forearms down and on the blade of the foot. Any kind of lizard is fine. Love lizard. Then pressing into your hands again, and we don't even have to move our hands, we can just hop our right foot on back, shift forward, up, dog, and down dog. One breath, stepping forward with the left foot, rise up, warrior one, warrior two, side angle, warrior two, triangle, takes me a minute, an extra breath to get my arm up straight. Looking down at the left foot, both hands come down, left arm comes up, revolve triangle. Legs are as straight as they can be. Then we'll look at our toes, bring both hands down to the inside of the foot, straighten the back toes so they're pointing forward, come forward into lizard on this side, which might be completely different than your other side. So maybe the knee needs to be down, all good. Maybe you'd like to come to the forearms. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you like to bend and come on the side of your foot. When you've had enough of lizard, straighten the arms again. Step that foot back. Take it through your push-up vinyasa if you like to. And we'll breathe in down dog for 5 breaths. Looking forward, step on up, bending, half lift. Now bending the knees, chair pose again. Let's make it a nice deep one this time if we want to, and we can even come into lightning bolt. We'll just come on back up, back to mountain Tadasana. Taking a breath. We're coming into Vrikshasana or tree pose, and looking at the fence because I might want to use it. If you're close to a wall, maybe come up to it. So I'm going to do my tree kind of backwards. Oh, never mind, that's silly. If you want to, I'll tell you when if you want to put your foot on the wall. So, for tree pose, I'm going to straighten and strengthen my left leg, spreading the toes, lifting up through the arch. My knee's not locked, there's a tiny little bend there. And then I'll lift the right toes up, lift the right knee up, find my foot placement. It might be with my heel on the ground, it might be with my foot against my calf or shin, or it might be with my foot all the way up here, but I'm just trying not to put my foot on my knee. Hands come to the heart. Take a breath. Stand tall and proud. If you fall out of it, all good. Just another chance to try again. The tree could grow. Sometimes I like to bring my arms around and behind me. Then if you'd like to bring your hands back to your heart, let the knee come forward. Straighten the leg as much as you can. Now, my foot is not super high, but I can still really feel it. Then, so my right foot is forward. I'm going to take my right hand, my left hand forward, my right hand behind me, dancing Shiva. Maybe I can even turn around and look at my thumb. Now here's where it would be super helpful if you could put your foot on a wall or a tree or a fence, because it's just stable and nice. And then come on back, try to take a breath before you put your foot down, and let it come on down. Whew. You can feel that in the standing leg too, right? Let's do the other side. Lengthening and strengthening the right leg, but the knees relaxed. Spreading the toes. When I feel ready, I'll pick up my knee. Find my tree placement. Could be the ankle, the shin. Could be clear up here. You know I like the shin. Just taking time. So tree's not frozen in place. It's lots of little movements, just like the leaves in the wind, keeping us still. Also finding our drishti, staring at one thing that's not moving, ignoring, say, squirrels over your head. Arms up, if you like. Behind the back, if you like. Then, hands could come back to the heart. You could stretch that left leg forward as we stretch our left arm behind us. And try to look back over our thumb. Again, putting your foot against the wall, pretty great. Come on back. See if you can twist around without putting your foot down. And then take one more breath. All back down. Balance. So good. So good. Okay, so then we're just going to take, say we're facing the front of our mat. Okay, we're gonna step a really wide step back with our left foot. Doesn't matter which foot, you're just gonna face me. And then both toes are gonna be pointing forward. So we'll come into pyramid. Just like we just did on tree with putting our arms behind our back, we can hold our opposite elbows, we can hold our forearms, we can even, if you're built this way, put your hands in prayer up your back. So both legs are kind of straight. Your back foot could be 45-degree angle, or it could be with both toes pointing forward. And you can notice and maybe shorten the stance, maybe lengthen, maybe widen. But inhale, then hinging at the hip, our whole body's one muscle, our whole upper body's one muscle will fold down, and we can look at our knee. Trying to bring our left hip forward and our right hip back if you've got your right foot in front. If this is too tippy and uncomfortable, hands can always come right down to the mat. That's just fine. Tiny little micro bend in the front knee will protect us from overextending. This is Pyramid Parsvottanasana. I love this pose. And now we'll put our hands down if you haven't already. We're just going to walk our hands sideways so that both toes are pointing forward and we're kind of facing the long edge of our mat. Then toe heel, toe heel, toe heel, toe heel. We're going to sink down into Malasana or squat pose. So sometimes Malasana needs to be here because of your knees. That's good. You listen to how that should be. Sometimes you need to keep your hands on the ground. Sometimes I do. And sometimes you can press your hands into your knees just a little bit. Let the bum slip on down toward the ground. Malasana or garland pose. It's nice to just settle a minute here. Trying to keep the heart lifted. And then when you've had enough, let your hands come on down to the mat. Straighten the legs. You could hop into crow there if you really want to. And then just come on up. Now our feet can come a little wider apart, toes still facing forward, arms out to a T, star pose. Inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to hinge forward, weight in the balls of the feet. Hinge, 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 hinge. Holding behind our heels and looking behind us. So it's almost a little dance of balance. We're trying to shift our weight forward without falling on our heads. So we might be shifting a little forward, a little backward. Engage the inner thighs. Feel that. Nice strength. Let's notice our feet. Are they doing their job? Pressing into the four corners and lifting up through the arches. Core's engaged. And then we'll put our hands down on the mat. Do a little flat back, forward fold. Maybe you need to be up on your fingers like this, like I do. And then, if you want to put your hands back down, toe heel your feet even wider. Maybe you like to put your forearms on the mat and maybe your head. Your toes can go a little sideways from your heels now, if that feels better for you. But again, the weight is pressed forward. And then toes come back to the center, hands come back. I like to toe heel a little bit closer together. Then, engaging my core, hands on the hips, like one muscle, come up. Okay, so here we are. We've already done this side pyramid, but we're going to do this side. So left toes point out. And again, your right foot can be 45 degrees. It can be, birds, It can be like this. I have to wipe my hand in the grass now because I just got some bird poop on my head. But nevertheless, I'm not going to let that stop me. Standing up tall, arms behind the back, or in prayer, and we'll just hinge forward over this left leg. Really normal for both sides to feel different, so just take your time. Breathing. Tiny little bend in the front knee. And let your head go down. If you'd like to put your hands down on the mat, you can do that. And when you feel ready, using your core, come on back up. Come on to the front of the mat. We'll just step on back up. So I have something really exciting to show you guys. This guy, his name is Stephen Medeiros, and he's on the cover of Yoga Journal. But this picture just like made me so happy. I could not wait. I hope I can find it. Yeah, so, oh my gosh. So there he is. So he has one leg, but what an amazing yogi. Is this not the most beautiful, powerful picture? Yeah, so I'm so excited. Inspired by boys today. I'm starting out with a balanced athlete, and now Stephen Medeiros has this power practice, which we're going to take down to the mat. So just sit down. And he starts out with Dandasana pose, so feet are forward and flexed. Everything's engaged, just like we're standing. all the legs are working, squeezing toward each other. Everything's squeezing in toward the midline. Sitting up tall, and then we can lift our arms and just gently shift forward. So what if we don't reach our feet? Well, that's okay. You can hold on to your shins, your ankles, even your knees or thighs. It's all about the long, straight back and the gazing forward. If this hurts your lower back, then that's a signal to back off a little bit. Nobody can see you. Doesn't matter how far down you go. And then maybe we drop our head. And then when we're ready, just bring our hands on up, take our legs, spread them out. Feet are still flexed. Can you tell the difference when your feet are just hanging out, and then when you flex them, you're engaging your legs so you can feel all that good work happening. Then we're just gonna come on down. We can walk our hands out and then let our forearms be down on the ground. Maybe we can hold our hands together. Maybe our forearms don't touch, and that's fine. Then our hands can walk out here. The most important thing is that our feet are still flexed, still completely engaged. Core's working. And we can gaze down. Just take a few breaths. So if it isn't cats around here, it's squirrels, right? Then, coming back up just for one breath, we're gonna come down again, this time with our hands on our legs out to our feet, and let our head go down as low as it wants to go. You can decide where you wanna hold, outside of the feet, inside, outside of the calves, inside. But that long feeling of the back, the engaged core, not hurting in the lower back, coming up a little bit if it is. Breathing, breathing, breathing. We still have our pranayama going. And then we'll just come on back up. And keeping the legs right where they are, we'll do what I usually call rainbow pose. So we'll bring our left hand either on our thigh or down to the mat. Sitting up tall, keeping our shoulders and heart open. We're gonna reach up and over, feet still flexed. As if we could reach our toe, and maybe you can, but it's more about opening the shoulder and gazing up than it is about grabbing your toe. Open, 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 keeping the core squeezed in tight to protect the lower back and these muscles, whatever they are. Obliques? Something else? And then try to pull yourself up with your right arm and your strong core. Try the other side. Right arm down, feet flexed, shoulders open, and stretch up and over. Remembering it's about the shoulders going apart and not just about grabbing the toe. Squeezing with the core, feet flexed. Come on back up. So next, I would never do this pose if it weren't for our friend Steven here doing it, because I don't really like it. So I'll show you two ways. If it's bad on the knees, then you can do it my way. So it's like child's pose with your toes touching, like child's pose with your toes touching, and then coming down on your forearms, just let your head hang down. So it's kind of like child's pose. But to make it truly frog, your feet go out and you're pressing your hips back. So if this kind of bothers your knee, like it does on mine, I just tuck my feet in. And I'm still pressing, and I can still feel it in my thighs and my hips. So you find your frog. And then come on up. Camel. Camel comes next. So one thing I love about this guy, Stephen, is that he does camel like I do, one hand at a time. So hand coming back to the heel. Remember the most important thing about camel, squeezing those glutes, right? Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze to protect our back. And then other arm comes up and over behind us. And then we swap it. Hold the heel up and over, glutes squeezing like crazy the whole time. Of course, if you prefer to hold both your heels in camel, that's all good. And when you're done, we'll go down into an extended puppy. So we can just, your knees can be a little wider than the hips, but they don't have to be. And then we'll come down onto our forearms, bums up in the air. And it's really nice to put your forehead down and your hands in prayer. Then if you want, you can sink back a little bit. And then when you're done, press the palms together to lift the head. Come forward a little bit and just come even more forward. You might need to just go back on your mat like me. Into just a little cobra or sphinx. So hands are here, fingers are spread wide, and we're just gazing straight forward, not up, not hurting our neck. Maybe we'd like to bring our legs together, squeeze them, making sure our shoulders are down away from our ears. Sphinx. Then coming onto our back, we've got a few more poses. Supine spinal twist. So just coming on, oh no, wrong ponytail. Just coming onto the back, knees bent, arms out to the T, and then we'll bring our feet and our knees together and let them drop over to the right side as we gaze to the left. Shoulders are down. Taking some extra breaths here, relaxing. And checking in with the core, making sure we're using that. We'll bring our knees up. Take a breath and let them drop over to the left. So the right hip does come up, but the shoulders stay down. Gazing to the right. Then staying down on your back, we're just going to bring our knees into our chest, give them a little squeeze. We can rock them. Did you ever know that squirrels were so noisy? They're real noisy. Gosh. So rocking around, sometimes it's nice to rock in a circle. then we'll let our feet come down to the mat, but put the soles of our feet together. So Supta Baddha Konasana, or butterfly on your back. I like to just put my arms out kind of like Shavasana arms, but some people like to put their hands on their thighs and just gently, gently press them apart. Shoulders down and relaxed, even the shoulder blades tucked. And we'll just let gravity work for us here, gently pulling our knees closer to the mat. Maybe not in a way we can see, but maybe in a way we can just feel. Not forcing. If this is too much on your lower back, then bring the knees back together and squeeze them back into the chest. But if you're here, just 1 or 2 more breaths. And then we'll all bring our knees into the chest, rock a little more. And that's the end of the Stephen Medeiros pose. Now we're just back to me. So taking our left leg, squeezing it over into the armpit, we'll straighten out the right, flex the foot, set it down on the mat. So squeezing into the armpit, we're really compressing our hip, but our shoulders don't need to be up by our ears. They can relax. Both feet could be flexed. And then relaxing our feet, we'll take our right hand, gently guide the knee over to the right side of the body. Left arm comes out to the T. Both shoulders are still down on the mat. You can put your toe near your knee somewhere, or sometimes my heel is the one that ends up there. And just a gentle supine twist, gazing away from your knees. Engaging the core, we'll bring both knees back to the chest, a little more rocking. Taking the right knee, squeezing it in, or whichever one you didn't do, maybe I got them wrong. Flexing the left foot and lowering it on down to the mat. Squeezing. Remember that our shoulders don't need to be up by our ears. I say that all the time because I need to hear it all the time. Flexing both our feet, the legs are really active, this hip compression, and then we just relax that a little bit. Take our left hand, bring our knee gently to the left side of the mat, right arm comes out to a T, head goes to the right. Your toe could be around your knee or your heel could. Shoulders relaxed and down. Might even want to close your eyes. And I could probably stay here all day, but if you'd like to bring your knees into the chest again and find whatever you would like to do before Shavasana. Maybe it's happy baby, holding the outside or the insides of your feet, rocking around. Maybe you'd like to do a shoulder stand or a bridge pose. I like to just do some wacky variations of happy baby. And then if you
still have the Spotify playlist on, now is probably the time to turn it off. Finding your Shavasana. If you'd like to do Shavasana on your back, your knees could be bent, or your legs could be straight. If your legs are out, just let your feet drift apart. No more flexing, settling the hip bones, tucking the shoulder blades, palms could be out, gaze up, eyes open or shut. I like to press my shoulders down into the mat and then just let them come back to their natural way. They're not going to stay like that, but that just reminds them how nice it is to open up. Let's take a big breath in together and sigh it out our mouths. Let's do one more. And we'll just close the mouth, possibly close the eyes. Find your Shavasana. And possibly Shavasana could be on your side, it could be sitting up. Here's where our body's soaking up the things we did today. Our spirit is remembering the good things that we thought about. Our breath's remembering how great it is to be long and slow. And our mind's remembering the patterns that we did. Yoga, yoking all those parts of our body together. Shavasana, enjoy. Jana Rama Kopave Januma Januma Keduka Bisarave Tumare Bajana Rama Kopave Januma Januma Keduka Bisarave Tumare Bajana Rama Kopave Januma Januma Keduka Bisarave. stay where you are just as long as you like. When you feel like you're ready to move and go back into your day, you might begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe roll the head from one side to another. Notice your breathing again, perhaps deepen it. And when you feel ready, like you're swimming through lovely warm water, just roll to one side, bringing your knees up. Take a few breaths there, maybe. Your arm could be a pillow. And then again, like a beautiful mermaid swimming, just make your way to a comfortable seat. Your eyes could still be closed, they could be open, and if you're still flat out in Shavasana, that's just fine. I'd like to go back to our theme one more time. The great Booker T. Washington. I will permit no one to narrow and degrade my soul by making me hate them. So let's not narrow and degrade our own souls. There's no need for that. If you'd like to bring your hands to your heart, you could revisit your own intention, bowing the head. I always like to take a moment of gratitude just for the miracle and amazing creation that our bodies are. Not being impatient because we don't step up as far as we want to, or our forward fold, our nose is not pressing our knees, or any ridiculous thing like that. We are amazing creations, and let's have some gratitude for that. If you'd like to bring your thumbs to the third eye between the eyebrows. I see the light in myself and others. Thumbs to the lips. I notice and speak the light in myself and others. Thumbs to the heart. I bow to the light in myself and others. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.